suit, my guy. Nice suit.
Now, Jeremiah Gerber's 5'7", but he's 140 pounds and 19 years old. That's pretty young to have 2 fights. You know, in this game, I think we have a lot more younger fighters coming up and making good progress. Both of his wins are by submission. Sadiq, being that young, there's just biological differences fighting somebody in their late teens versus in their mid-20s. Is that something you dealt with? Because you're on the younger side of the spectrum here.
Yeah, especially I've dealt with a lot of my teammates. So I've also started fighting pretty young. You definitely feel that grown man strength compared to that little teenager strength. But he has wins by submissions. When you prioritize jiu-jitsu, you don't need that much of a strength.
You certainly don't. And now we're going to throw it up for the first call.
Bring out our first fighters of the evening. This first fight in the CFF Series 2 is brought to you by Rule 7 Meal Prep. This first fight is in the catch weight of 140 pounds. So as I introduce our first fighter, comes to us by way of the blue corner.
Jeremiah Gerber, 5'7", 140 pounds, fighting out of Wartime MMA in Leesburg, Virginia. As we said, he's 19 years old with a 2-0 record, both of his wins by submission. So, Sadiq, as you were saying, you know, when you come into this game at a young age, there's certain biological differences. Sometimes you have to deal with a little bit more strength. You have a better recovery time as being younger, but there's checks and balances, right? There's pros and cons.
Yeah, there's pros and cons, you know. And another note, being younger, you still have that invisibility thing going on for you. You know, you think you could conquer the world, and he's also 2-0. He hasn't lost yet. The good thing is his opponent, it says all his fights has gone to decision. They're probably going to wrestle a lot, and both of his wins are by submission. So, hey, it's your world. You're going to have a lot of chances to do what you're good at.
And both of his wins were by submission in the first round, which shows that he's a fast starter and he's going to come at you. Now, Carl, you were talking a little earlier, when you go to decision, it might sometimes slow you up. We're going to throw it up, though, for that second introduction.
And introducing his opponent this evening, coming to us by way of the red corner.
Qataada Nubani, 5'8", 140 pounds, fighting out of Aikido MMA at Bailey's Crossroads, Virginia. He is 24 years old. He's 2-1, and like we said, all of his fights have gone to decision. Carl.
Yeah, man, that means there's a lot of time in the cage. That means he's comfortable. He's tough, so you know he's down to take a punch to get where he wants to go, and he's gonna put it on the kid. He's gonna come to the kid. He's gonna try to meet the kid. He's not a runner. You can tell.
And you know, one thing I think from the amateur level, when you do lose, and you lose by decision, there's oftentimes so many lessons throughout that fight because you're getting that time in that's just irreplaceable in the gym, in sparring. When you get to the higher levels, like the ones that you both are at, you can recreate a lot of situations with hard sparring and high-level sparring partners. But when you're first getting out there and you don't really know what to expect, this is your time to learn.
Yes.
Now, Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, you had a pretty short amateur career,
Yeah,
correct?
I only had 3 amateur fights.
3 amateur fights, and then you went pro, and first in kickboxing, correct?
Yes.
And your first pro kickboxing fight, we talked about it last broadcast, was
Jerome LeBanner.
Jerome LeBanner, who is a legend in the kickboxing community. And, you know, one thing that you get from that amateur field, you get that experience like we were just saying.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've had to kind of hit the ground running here as you hit this higher level?
Yeah, I'm learning on the job. That's pretty much what it is. You got to learn on the job when you go a little too quick. And sometimes that's a good and a bad thing because you work harder because you have to catch up. And sometimes you surpass. That's how I got to the UFC so quick.
Right.
So it helps you work harder in this place, and it's a lot of catch-up to do.
Well, both of you had meteoric rises quite quickly, but now we're going to throw it back up to Giovanni to call the official fight.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is our first fight. We've got 3 3-minute rounds of mixed martial arts action. This first fight is a catch weight of 140 pounds. As I introduce our first fighter coming to us by way of the blue corner. He is 19 years of age, standing 5 feet 7 inches tall with an official fight weight of 139.4 pounds with an amateur record of 2-1. He comes to us by way of Wartime MMA out of Leesburg, Virginia. They call him Magic Hands. Give it up for Jeremiah Gerber. And his opponent this evening coming to us by way of the red corner. He is 24 years of age, 6'5", 8 inches tall, with an official fight weight of 139 106 pounds. He is undefeated at 2-0. He comes to us by way of Aikido, MMA, out of Bailey's Crossroads. He goes by Q. Give it up for Qataada, Nubani. And the ring, red countries, Gerber versus Nubani. Let's have a great fight.
And the crowd erupted when when his name was called. It just feels different when you got a lot of support calling for you.
Yeah, and it's a very small room too, so you can hear everybody.
That echo, you can definitely feel that in your bones.
It's going to be loud, ladies and gentlemen, but there's nothing like that energy here as we hit some high-level MMA at Cowboy Fight Series. This fight is brought to you by Rule 7 Meal Prep.
Jeremiah definitely looks like he's a young 19-year-old. You can tell in both of their body structure. Oh, but they are trading fast.
They came to fight. They came to fight.
Here from
Not
Nubani.
a lot of grappling is going to be happening in this fight.
So he's trying to make a statement.
A shot landed there. A shot landed that hurt Gerber. He's having some trouble out of that right eye, and Nubani's putting a lot of pressure on him.
You can kind of tell the difference between a grappler and a striker by when they start getting attacked.
Absolutely. The defense is there's a big difference there. A very big difference there. Now Nubani's on top, landing some hard shots. Good body shots landed by Nubani. Now he's changing up to the head.
He needs to watch that ankle.
Yeah.
Well, he's out of the way now. He needs to settle down a little bit.
Now Gerber's trying to relax a little bit. He's in his full guard.
Gerber's now locked it up, trying to slow it down. He's got the head control, but he still has to be careful because he's not quite defending his head from those hard shots.
You got to see how people react by getting hit.
He's looking for that arm bar, but he's not able to trap it properly while Nubani is postured up like that.
Yeah. A lot of people be good on the ground, but when they get hit, sometimes that jitsu goes out the window quick.
Well, it's hard to pull certain shots when you have to defend your head, right? You have to make a choice. Do you attack or defend? And right now, Gerber's having a hard time dealing with the volume from Nubani.
He's also having a hard time seeing out of that right eye. It looks like it's starting to close up.
I think one of the first hooks he got hit with threw him off.
Nubani's doing a great job of keeping him up against the cage here. How does that change things to the big shot landing?
Yeah, because now the grappler, he doesn't have any way to run, you know? Now he's kind of forced to engage in a striking battle, and you could tell he's super uncomfortable on his feet. And Nubani's nice and calm and constantly landing whenever he wants.
Big shot landed there. Good count. It looks like that was a low blow. Sending both fighters to a neutral corner.
So he should take that 5 minutes to use that for his eye. And
Definitely.
This is where the experience comes in, when to use it.
Yeah, you know, when he's having a hard time dealing with Nubani's forward pressure, and he's staying with his back against the cage and leading with kicks. It's just not, you need to throw some punches. You need to change the levels, because when you lead with the kicks, all you're doing is getting countered, and Nubani's doing a great job landing that hard right hand.
Yeah.
Carl, when you're using your range to keep somebody up against the cage, especially a grappler, we talked a little earlier that they have nowhere to run, but do you feel that it also gives you more space to deal with? Real quick, we're going to check this replay, and it looks like it just snuck in there, but it doesn't take much to slow you down.
Nah, not at all.
But when you're on the cage, you'd be surprised how body works. If I'm pushing up against the cage, you start to straighten up a little bit. You get a little bit taller. That means you can't really drop for a shot, and now I can play with you more, and I can get my range a little bit better, and I can hit you harder.
And do you feel it's going to open up more opportunities to the body?
Way more opportunities, because they start to fold, they start to freak out. When the mind goes, everything opens up.
It certainly does follow, and it looks like we're about to restart the action here.
Now this is where Gerber having those 2 quick submissions kind of plays in his downfall, because now you're in trouble. You're 2-0, your first time being in trouble in an amateur fight, and he's kind of throwing these kicks, and he's a little bit off balance. He needs to relax a little bit.
And he's not really committing to his punches, right? He's kind of throwing them out there to keep something in Nubani's face, but it's not close enough to have that effect.
Not at all.
And now Nubani's got his back against the cage, and another big shot here.
If he wants to survive this round, he's going to have to shoot pretty soon.
He's throwing more punches to keep him away, not to really hit.
Right, and Gerber's hurt here. Ooh, big flying knee attempt, but then he ate one on the way out.
Yeah. That's settling on his jab and start gaining some respect.
He absolutely does, and Nubani's going to stop loading up. He's missed a few opportunities here to land hard shots. He's just spending a little too much time throwing wide and from the hips.
Yeah, Nubani has no respect for a strike right now.
None at all. And he needs to be careful because you might get clipped. This is MMA, 4-ounce gloves, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And just right there, big shot.
Oh, nice.
Right on the button. He's hurt.
Oh, that's a near one.
Oh, right at the bell.
Let's see. It was right at the bell. I don't know if Gerber is going to make it to the next round, though.
Now the ref's got
I don't know if Gerber is going to make it to the next round.
And there it is. They call it. And that's the fight.
That's the end of the fight.
Right at the last second. Wow.
This place is exploding for Nubani. I think he sold out the room.
He brought a crowd, man. He brought a crowd. And a very strong performance from Nubani, where we were just saying how he got that experience going the distance and taking those decisions. But this time he did not want to leave any time or anything up to the judges, as he put a lot of pressure and he landed those hard shots.
You got to take this as a learning curve. It's time for him to evolve his game a little bit.
You know, and it was that first shot that landed that really rattled Gerber, but then at the end there we saw that hard left hook and right hook right on the button that was just too much, and he couldn't quite answer the bell, and that was a good call, a good stoppage by the ref.
It was definitely a good stoppage. I don't think Gerber wanted to continue, and I don't even think he could have physically continued even if he wanted to will himself to do it.
Yeah, that little jump out the corner when he was getting punched was a clear sign.
I never seen that one before.
I never seen a hop, skip, slide. That surprised me.
Well, let's throw it up to Giovanni for the official decision.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for our first two fighters. First of all, he's going to get in here and win your job. We do have a winner, ladies and gentlemen.
Couldn't
By way of TKO, 2 minutes and 59 seconds of the first round, Qataada.
Let's throw it back up for a replay of the very strong finish from Nubani.
All right, Qataada, get over.
Right there, you see that right hook gets through, and then there's a body shot, and now it's just, that was all she wrote at that point.
Congratulations. I think Brett was far more excited than you were. That's usually how a coach goes. But you're undefeated now, 3-0. Beautiful knockout at the end of the first round. You're part of the great organization here at CFS. What's next for you? Obviously, a lot of things go through your mind right now, but what do you think is going to be coming up for you?
It's been one thing to get at hard box, so man, put up 40. Right now, I don't know what's next. We're having my phone, so I want to take that up. But my coach here, all day, 52 weeks right there. Everybody that's getting out, I love you guys all over there.
Well, you did great. Obviously, you come with a beautiful victory. You never leave it in the hands of judges this day. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing what's upcoming for Qataada. Let's give it up one more time. Back to you.
And we're going to check out some highlights of that very strong performance from Qataada Nubani. And you know, here's a good example of him just forcing the action against the cage, and then when Gerber does throw, Qataada was just ready to respond.
Yeah, it looked like Qataada has a lot more training and at least striking. You know, you look how calm he is the entire time. Everything he was throwing had a purpose. Even when he was swinging wildly, they still had a purpose to it.
Yeah, he has better overall training. He was comfortable. He wasn't worried about the shot. He was comfortable on the ground in his guard. So experience shows. This is what happens when you get out of there too early at a young age.
Absolutely, and you know, Maikido MMA is a very strong gym here in the Virginia area with a lot of competitors, and we're going to throw it up to Giovanni for the next fight.
All right, we're going to be bringing out our next fight. This is, once again, it's 3-minute rounds of mixed martial arts action in the CFF middleweight division, the 180